Long considered one of the European Tour's outstanding young talents, Matteo Manassero was ranked as the #1 amateur in the game before turning pro. After joining the paid ranks, the Italian won tournaments in each of his first 4 seasons, becoming the youngest champion in European Tour history. However, his victory in the BMW PGA Championship 2 years ago marked a peak from which he fell sharply. Swing changes aimed at adding more distance led to an alarming downturn in his fortunes. And while Jordan Spieth celebrates his first major win, Manassero wants to reignite a career that promised just as much.
They had similar games, they're similar people. Well, they've matured beyond their years, not only off the course, but on the course too, managed their games beautifully.
Joining me in the presentation is Robert Morris, who is the chairman and CEO of Barclays Asia Pacific, who will hand over that huge trophy to our champion, Matteo Manassero.
I was working in Singapore when he won.
You got the strength to keep holding that up?
It was just mystifying to me how a guy 18 could be that cool. You know, he looked like Jack Nicklaus in his 30s. There was always the issue, always the talk, he's not long enough, he's not long enough. And obviously it got into his head, he believed it. And ever since then, he's obviously tried to push on. I've watched him early in this season in Abu Dhabi. He was in the marquee groups and you could tell he was really struggling, hitting drivers all over the place. But certainly Manassero was as good with the irons and maybe around the greens as Jordan is.
Well, I used to drive the ball much better, and as soon as I lost the feelings with the driver, I started to hit the driver a long way right. That's, you know, it never put me in play, and that was the problem. You know, never being very few times in the fairway doesn't allow you to make birdies, and it's always it's very stressful to play golf that way. I always thought that a period like that could make me much stronger in the future. And because I'm not struggling with time and I've got all my career ahead of me, I managed to take it well at times, but it was really hard.
Following 6 straight missed cuts at the start of this season, Manassero took the decision to part with long-term caddy Dave McNeely, who was alongside the Italian for his last 3 wins. The new man on the bag is Brian Bo Martin, who helped Alexander Levy claim 2 wins on the European Tour last year.
Me and Dave went through a rough time with my golf, and it wasn't easy to keep going. So have something new, have something fresh, and most of the times the main reason why you change it because the communication, it's either too much or not enough, or after a while it changes. With Bo, I'm finding, you know, probably the right communication.
Caddies need to be chameleons, really. You know, you have to adapt to the player. You know, that's the most important thing. And that's a sign of any good relationship, I think, in any walk of life, whether it be in business or socially or in this job when it's working. You kind of understand what a player likes. He spent the first 2 years of his professional career and he never hit a provisional golf ball. And I suppose when you're used to being so good and you're used to performing so good, it's difficult when you're just not firing on all cylinders. But again, that's just a process you got to go through if you're putting in that sort of work. And he'll come out the other end of it, and already I'm seeing a difference.
Plenty of hard work lies ahead for the 22-year-old, but a top 30 finish at Shenzhen International in China, with 3 out of 4 rounds under par, was easily his best display this year.
You only get your confidence back by seeing good shots, repeatedly, hitting good shots. And once he gets his technique where he wants it to be, and he starts seeing shots and controlling the ball, controlling the distance, he'll get it back. Because he's too mature, he's too determined. He works hard at his game, obviously, and this is what he wants to do. I'm convinced he will find it.
Like the last 3 or 4 months has been hard for him, you know, really hard. If that doesn't rattle you, and you can still come up and have a smile and still go to the golf course and go to the range with the same vigour that you have when you're playing well, then that's the sign of somebody who's determined and will get it done, and I suppose that's what he'll do.
I'm looking for results now as I'm feeling much better. So that's the goal. Would be, you know, from now on to have more top 10s and more consistency.
Matteo tees it up this week at the Volvo China Open, with his game clearly coming back to health. You can find out how he gets on in Golfing World next week.